Hello, Rob. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm delighted to be here and be with you.
Well, so am I, because today is a very, very special day. We're celebrating 35 years of Psyche in this planet, 35 years of making people's lives better. And what better way to celebrate this than to hear from you, the originator, why Psyche is so important, especially in this moment of human evolution.
Well, it's more than a moment in human evolution, I can assure you. It's all been moments in evolution to get us here. But what is profound to me is the awareness that this is really the beginning of a culminating point for Psyche. In other words, it's sort of the reason we're here and have been for 35 years. Psyche is a gift that came through me, not from me. I just like to clarify that. I was the original conduit for it. And yes, my part was to organize it in conjunction with my business background, corporate background for 14 years, allowed me to create a kind of vessel for it that could sustain itself in this business-driven world. And yet, it's not like any business I was ever a part of, because business is a word that barely describes the container for it. The essence of it is certainly pure spirit. And it has been my privilege for these past 35 years to be the kind of father and caretaker of this sacred trust. And that's how I see it. And it's so beautiful because I've seen so many wonderful, really miraculous things occur as people use Psyche. And the beauty is you can learn Psyche very easily. And then if you just read the instructions, the processes it makes the processes available to the very young and the very old people and everybody in between, of course, because they're not difficult per se, the balances we call them, to change, to condition the field. I'm going to use some language like that, to condition the field, to make it possible to change long-held self-sabotaging beliefs in just a matter of minutes. Oftentimes that's the way it works. And I just feel very privileged to have been associated with Psyche for this long and watching it like a child grow up. And as it does, other adults and other children in the adults recognize the magic of it and the beauty of it. So that's where I am in celebrating its birthday. It's a gift to me, and then my job was to make it a gift to everybody else. And we've been doing that as a service to humanity for these last 35 years.
Yeah, and indeed, it's a wonderful service. Sometimes people think of this like, oh, I need to solve the situations outside, and then they come into Psyche and they figure out that it's never happening outside, that we're creating that reality first within us, and then it manifests outside. So if somebody were to say, okay, so I am hearing about Psyche for the first time, what will Psyche do for me? What would you say that would be the answer for somebody coming into Psyche now or being
Well,
in Psyche for a while?
yeah, the answer is really multiple levels of consciousness. On the self-help level, what will it do for me? Then you can list the things that you feel are impeding your life and you're not getting what you want and that sort of thing. So whether it's an emotional challenge, a physical challenge, spiritual challenge, whatever you feel is in your way and you can't seem to talk yourself out of it, then you realize that the problem isn't at the conscious level. It isn't an information-based issue that would be the solution. It's a subconscious belief level. And by definition, sub means below. So below the level of your conscious awareness, out of your conscious awareness, in other words, the driving forces, the limiting beliefs, we'd call them, drive the ship. I mean, at least 95% of the time, according to neuroscience, your next thought or next action, and therefore your next outcome, is determined below the level of your conscious awareness. Well, that's frightening. If you don't know what the heck is there, how can you change it? Well, with PSYCH-K, you can, and you don't actually have to know what is there. You can, and oftentimes do during a change process, but as long as the subconscious knows what's there and what needs to be changed, and you're asking it to make that change at the conscious level, and that's what the processes are about. It's about preparing the subconscious mind to receive the information and teaching you how to communicate directly with the subconscious and to engage it as a partner in making these proactive changes in your life. And then you see them as thoughts and behaviors that actually print out in three-dimensional life. That's the gist of it. That's the answer for the people interested in self-help. If you are not so much interested in getting your life together because it's pretty much together, but you really sense that there's something more that's missing, a missing piece in your life, almost always that missing piece is a spiritual component to life itself. So there's more. You're just asking yourself, there's got to be more than just the physical world here. There's got to be more than just the physical body and the pleasures of the body and the pleasures of three-dimensional life and all that. And when you start asking those questions, what's life all about? Meaning of life questions. Who am I? What am I? Why am I here? That sort of thing, more purpose-driven than let's fix this part of me and make me different in some way. If you're there at the beginning of the self-help world, great, be there. PSYCH-K will accelerate how you experience yourself in life, and you can learn lots about yourself. And then what's interesting is over time, and I'm a good one to ask about that because it's been 35 years of time, you really come down to asking yourself, well, why am I here? And what is the process here? What's the name of this game? And the beauty of that is when you start asking those questions, your psyche transforms and it dials up for you, with you really, more than for you, but with you, to a level of the questions are really questions about self-realization, not self-help alone. Self-realization is the realization that you're a part of a whole. You're part of something greater than just you. And so is everyone else, by the way. So it's not I'm greater than someone else. No, it's everybody's great. And not everybody's aware of their greatness. So I think the gift of PSYCH-K is that it introduces you to that greatness inside you. Like you were saying, the problems are really almost all internal problems of perception, or I would say misperception about the world outside of you and who you are in relationship to that world. So I think the real gift is when you start finding out that there really are no boundaries as such to consciousness and to who you are, that you're so much more than you ever imagined you could be. And as you step into that reality, the world just changes right before your very eyes because you are now attracting that consciousness into your life. And it seems like magic, but it's actually science-based. Law of attraction. In fact, PSYCH-K really is a combination of scientific principles, like for instance, in the quantum physics world, quantum entanglement, which is physics a word for we're all interconnected. In fact, we're all connected to everything else and everyone else. We just don't notice that because our senses tell us that we're separate. And then in the world of, say, metaphysics or spirituality, it's called the law of one. We're all interconnected, and it's the same definition, really. Maybe some of the words change, but the idea is the same. And if we're all interconnected, that changes everything. And if that's how you operate from that space of when you see somebody, you say, hello, I'm another you, because that's the truth. Albert Einstein said it real well. He said that we're really all connected. He said, the fact that we think we're separate is a kind of optical delusion of consciousness. In other words, our minds are telling us we're separate, but our spirit knows better. And once you understand that you are a mirror for other people and they for you, then you can't even imagine harming someone else or doing things that people do to each other pretty constantly on this planet at this time. And we're beginning to see that in ourselves more and more. The perpetual wars, all the things that are just seemingly so inhuman. But we have to know, if we just think we're human, then we can do those things because it's just human. If we know the truth about who we are spiritual beings, first and foremost, having a human experience. And when you're clear about that and you actually embody that, then everything takes on a different perspective and perception, and everything is divine. And in that divine state, you can't hurt yourself or anyone else because it's part of the whole, it's part of the greatness that's in each of us.
Indeed. I think that's probably one of the most beautiful gifts for me, is knowing that I am not alone, and that what I am transforming every day with PSYCH-K, it has an effect in this macroorganism that's humanity. And I think that's where we realize how huge it is when PSYCH-K finds us.
And I would say the thing that really caps it all off is that when you understand, because you are connected to and part of everyone and everything else, every balance, every change process, in other words, you do, regardless of what the goal is per se, personal one, or you think maybe a global one, every time you do a balance, you achieve what's called the whole brain state. That's a prerequisite to conditioning the subconscious mind, getting it ready, inviting it to participate in the change process of belief systems that no longer serve who you are or who you're becoming. So the really wonderful thing about that is when you do the balance, you think for yourself. Well, remember, there is no really yourself. Yourself is the embodiment and the connection to all other beings on the planet. And so a balance, a change process for you is a change process invited. You invite people to participate in that. And subconsciously, they can, because consciousness is not a local phenomenon. It doesn't live inside our heads. It's out there and in here. We're out there and in here. It's all one consciousness. And that's a gift beyond measure if you really think about it. When you're doing self-help, you think you're really also offering that gift of change to every other sentient being on the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard this young man who took a workshop with me some months ago saying that every time he sees somebody doing a PSYCH-K balance, he celebrates within because he knows the world is a better place. So thank you, Rob, for the gift of PSYCH-K for so many of us. And thank you all to all the facilitators who are watching today and celebrating 35 years, and to all of you who consciously or unconsciously may be asking for PSYCH-K in your lives as well.
Well, know that from me anyway, as the original conduit for it, the receiving station for this gift, that I appreciate it in a depth and in a way that I can't even articulate with words. And I want to thank everybody who's aware of the wake-up call, in the field of consciousness that drew you to PSYCH-K. Because that's why we say, did you find PSYCH-K or did PSYCH-K find you? And the answer is yes. Yes. Totally true. Yes, and I want to acknowledge and thank every one of you that's listening to this discussion, because you had to be awake enough to do that. And never forget that you are an essential and important part of the whole. Everything is, everyone is, no matter what your station in life, no matter what you think about yourself. If you don't have a real good image of yourself, get over it and balance for it, because you are a divine being having human experience, and you're contributing. Your contribution as being who you are and the best you can be is the greatest gift you can give to everyone on the planet.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you everybody for watching.
My pleasure.
Let's all celebrate.
Yes, yes. Happy birthday, PSYCH-K.
Yay!